Hello students, so welcome back to class number 28. So we are discussing on this cost and management, accounting and financial management. So this is class 28 and the next class 29 we are completing the cost and management accounting, and then we will begin with the financial management. So our last topic for the discussion is learning curve. Okay, so learning curve concept is very simple. So we are going to see two classes on this learning curve before we wrap up this CMA portion of the subject. So this accounts for 50 percentage, okay, of your examination. So all the best for your examination. I hope you all are in exam preparation, and this video will be very helpful for you because I'm releasing it right time, and just because I have scheduled it 2-3 weeks later, but just to help my students, I'm just releasing it a little bit early. Okay, so let's go for today's session. So what is learning curve? Okay, so learning curve is nothing but measure of experience gained in the production. So when a particular person does a process, does an activity, he will take some 5 minutes to, for example, he takes 5 minutes to do an activity. Over the time, when he starts repeating the activity, the time will reduce. The time taken for doing that activity will reduce. So why it reduces? Because he has gained more expertise on this activity, and that's why the time taken for the same activity will reduce. Just think our budgeting unit, what we studied in budget, we will take a standard time for a particular item to be manufactured, but this is a opposite philosophy for that. So what does this says is, a particular person who is doing the same activity over the time, his expertise gained will increase, his experience will increase, which will make him to do the same activity in the lesser time. Okay, and that we call it as learning curve. So you can see it here. When I take the cumulative volume of production of a particular product in the x-axis, and I'm taking the time in the y-axis, and as my volume increases, my average time per unit will fall, and it will fall to a particular level, and then it will the rate of fall will reduce because he is becoming more efficient, and that efficiency will have a saturation. Okay, till that it will reduce, maybe slightly it will reduce. After that, the rate of decrease will considerably reduce, and this curve, they call it as learning curve, and any curve will have a equation behind it. And what is equation is, for this learning curve, is y is equal to ax power b. Okay, this symbol what is given is the power that is available in the excel file. So I have taken that ax power b. Okay, so ax and power b. Okay, I hope the students are very familiar with the equations and all, which you will be form part of your basic mathematics up to 10th standard. So this is ax power b. So when you plot this equation in the graphical format, and it comes to this kind of curve, and this curve is called the learning curve, which has volume in the x-axis and average time in the y-axis. So why I took time to explain this? Because it will be helpful for you to solve your objective questions if anything is asked. What is the learning curve ratio? So they name something called learning curve ratio. Average cost of first 2 units divided by average labor cost of first unit, and that they call it as learning curve ratio. Okay, so today we will see very simple problems. There are very few problems given in the illustrations in your study material. Today we will discuss the problems on that also. Okay, so y is equal to ax power b. So what is y? I see many students have some understanding mistake. Y is average time required per unit to produce X units. So if you are going to produce X number of units for a particular unit, what is the average time taken? Let me say example. For the first unit, you are taking 10 minutes, and for doing the second unit you are taking 8 minutes. So what is the average time per unit? 10 plus 8 is 18 minutes. 18 minutes divided by 2 units you have produced. So 9 minutes per unit is the average time per unit. So this is called average time per unit. And for how much quantity? For the X quantity. Okay, so that is why. So what is A? A is the time taken to make the first unit. So for the first unit, what is the time taken? And over the period of time, this time will fall. How much unit you are going to make? And that is called X. X is the total number of units we are going to make. And for that, the A is the time taken for the first unit that will keep on fall over the period of time. Okay, so what is B? B, we call it as learning coefficient. Okay, so this is what will be given in your question, for which logbook may be required. So for learning curve, your question may give the logarithmic values in the question itself, in the question paper itself. If it is not given, you have to use the logbook. So I suggest, if you have a picture of logbook which you can take from Google, take a printout of it and have in your bag, and you can take it to the examination center, and you can inform the examiner that the log values are not given in the question, so I need the logbook. If they provide the logbook, well and good, and if they do not provide, please use the log xerox or copy what you have taken with you. That may be helpful for somebody else also. So I suggest few people can please take this one printout, maybe one page for log and one page for anti-log. That would be sufficient, 1 or 2 pages. So maximum of 5 to 6 pages you can take the relevant pages print, and you can take to the hall, just to avoid any risk. Okay, so what is this learning coefficient? Learning coefficient formula is log of learning rate divided by log 2. So what is learning rate? Learning rate is the rate at which the learning occurs. For a company, for example, 80% is the learning. So which means at every point of time, at every unit they produce, 80% will be the time taken for the next batch. Okay, so first it is 10 units, first unit 10, for the 2 units, it will be 80% of 10, which means the average is 8. Okay, so that is the learning, that is the average time. We will come to that later. In today's problem we have one such example. I will discuss more detail in that. So for 80% learning rate, so 0.8 will be substituted here. So log 0.8 divided by log 2 is equal to 0.322. So students, this is the formula. If you know to use the log table, well and good. If you do not use the log table, just know this value. For 80% learning rate, the value of B is 0.322. This is a very important uh, thing that you have to remember for solving the learning curve formula. Other than the learning curve, your theory portion has one more curve called experience curve. In this experience curve, the same volume of production is taken in the x-axis, but in the y, cost has been taken. So the time is falling, which means the cost is also falling. Okay, that makes sense. But what is experience curve is developed by Boston Consulting Group in 1960. And what does it state? More experience a firm has in producing a particular product, the lower or its cost. Okay, if a company is producing an electric motor and it is doing it for 45 years, they will surely have the lowest possible cost. That's what they are taking. And there is a competitor who is only 5 years or 10 years old, and you are a buyer and you are going to buy electric motor, with whom you are going to select. There is a vendor with 5 years experience, there is a vendor with 40 to 45 years experience. So you will go with 40 to 45 experience, because he will have the least cost possible, because he is doing that for so much years. So maybe his product is so much proven in the market also. That's why he is still in the market. Still he is making the money. That's why he has opened his shop. That's why he has kept his company open. Okay, so there is high possibility of lower cost, whether the price may be the same, but after getting service cost or replacing parts cost, everything will be considerably less if you go for the 40 to 45 years experience guy instead of the 5 years experience guy. So the experience gained over the period of time, so there will be a fall in the cost. That's what experience curve says. This is all for your objective type question. So experience curve is between the cost versus the volume, while the learning curve is between the average time versus the volume. Okay, so let's go for today's problem. So there is a illustration number 1 using the learning curve y is equal to ax power b. So we know what y, a, x, b are, and b also we know 0.8. So which means there is a learning rate of 80%. So what is the coefficient? It is 0.322. Okay. So a, time taken for the first unit, it is given as 10 hours, and the learning rate is 80%. What is the average time for 20 units? So what does it mean? They are asking, what if you are going to make 20 units, because of learning your time taken for each unit will go down. What will be the average time taken per unit if you are going to make 20 units? Next, total time for 30 units. Okay, so both the questions are different. Total time, and that is average time. Okay, time for the units 31 to 40, what will be the unit? So in this question, log values, anti-log values are given in the question, so that will not be a big problem. Okay, let's I will also teach you how to see the logbook. I also have a lot of WhatsApp messages from students to put the videos including the how to use the logbook. So that's why I have taken the snapshot of the logbook also. So here I have taken, so what is the average time for 20 units? So we know the equation y is equal to a x power b. A is the time taken for the first unit, is just 10 hours, that is given in the question. So for how much units? We are going to work for 20 units. And what is that? A power minus 0.322. Why there is a minus? Because learning curve is going down. So which means that's why the power is negative. So minus 0.322. So 0.322 minus 0.322, it is given in the question. Okay, so there is the logarithmic formula, which is log xy means log x plus log y, which means xy is in multiplication. So when you split it, it becomes the addition. Log x plus log y is equal to log xy. So same way, 10 into 20 power 0.322, so it becomes log 10 plus log 20 power 0.322. Next, the formula is log a power b is equal to b log a. So whatever is in the power, that will come in front of the log. So it will come to b log a. So same way I am applying this formula here. What is it in the power? Minus 0.322. So that will come to the front, 0.322 log 20. Now log 10. What is log 10? Log 10 is 0. Okay, so which means you have to put this 0 after 1 point, after one decimal place. So 1.0. So log 10 is 1 minus 0.322 log 20. So what is log 20? So 20 is here, 3010. You have to put 1.3010. So 1.3010 is taken here. Next, so this into 0.322, 1 minus 0.418, the value is 0.5811. What is this? Log y. So log y is equal to 0.5811. Next I am applying one more formula. Log y is equal to x. Then y is equal to anti-log of x. The log from one side, it goes to the other side, it becomes the anti-log. So for the anti-log also, you will have a separate table. You have to look the values for the anti-log also in the logarithmic table. If it is given in the question, then well and good. So anti-log, so log y is 0.5811. So y is equal to anti-log of 0.5811. So that is given the question here, 3.812, 3.812. You can also find it here, 0.5811. So what is 0.58? Yes, 0.58 is here. Okay, 0.58 is here and 1 is here. The meeting point is this, which is 3811, and what is that? 0.581. There is one more 1. So in the same row you just come, you can find the 1 here. There is 1. So 0.5811, which is 3811 is here, plus 1, which is 3812. Okay, 3812. Here you have to place the decimal after the first digit, so it becomes 3.812. Very simple. So I think you can rewind and see what I said. Okay, this is very simple methodology to use the log table. Now we have used the log table and we have calculated what is y. Y is the average time taken to produce x units. Here x is 20. So for the 20 units, the average time taken per unit we have calculated here, which is 3.812 hours. If they have asked total time, you have to multiply 3.812 into 20 to find the total time for 20 units. And that is very similar to the next question. We have to calculate total time for 30 units. Okay, so do the same mathematics or logarithm which I said. Instead of x is equal to 20, you are going to put x is equal to 30. Apply the same formula, use the log book to find the log values and find the value of y, which is the average time per unit. Now how much units? 30 units. So multiply by 30 to find the total time for 30 units. Now what is the last question? Total time for 31 to 40 units. So we have to be very careful. It is 31 to 40. You cannot take it as 10 units. It is 31 to 40. So which means the company is producing the 40 units. For every unit the time will reduce, and for 31 to 40, what is the time? So which means you have to find what is the time taken for the 40 units and what is the time taken for 30 units you already have. So 40 units minus 30 units is the time taken to produce 31 to 40 units. So apply the same formula for 40. So you can instead of 30 you can substitute 40, apply the log, apply the anti-log, and you can find 3.049 hours is the average time per unit for making 40 units. So into 40 you will get time taken for the 40 units, that is 121.96 hours. So what is the time taken for 30 units? That we have already calculated, which is 100.35 hours. So 121.96 minus 100.35 will give you the time taken for 31 to 40 units. So that's the problem, guys. This is a very important problem, very simple problem. Please do not miss this question. If you have been, you are very lucky to get this question in your question paper. So watch, rewind and watch the videos. If you have any doubts, we will go to the next problem, which is very, very simple problem. Illustrate the use of learning curve for calculating the expected average unit cost of making 4 machines or 8 machines. So 4 machine, 8 machine, what will be the cost involved? We have to do direct labor need to make the first machine. They have made in 1000 hours. So of course over the period of time for the subsequent units, the time taken will reduce. That's why this is learning curve. So learning curve is 90% learning curve. Okay, direct labor cost is 15 rupees. For every hour it is 15 rupees. Now because of the learning effect, hours for making the machine will reduce, which means the direct labor will also reduce. We will see those things in the answer now. So direct material, there is no doubt it's going to be 1,50,000 for all the unit that we are going to make, whether it is 4 machines or whether it is 8 machines, it's going to be 1,50,000 rupees. Fixed cost for the either size orders, 60,000 is the fixed cost. Okay, so let's go for calculating the average labor cost per unit. So number of machines, one for the first machine, the time taken is 1000 and 15 rupees per hour. So 15 into 1000 is 15,000 rupees is the average labor cost per unit. So one unit you have spent 15,000 units. So per unit 15,000 rupees is the labor cost. Now what is the learning rate concept here? Every doubling, whenever your quantity is doubled, the time taken will become the time taken for the first unit multiplied by the learning rate. So here 1 unit into 2, which is double, becomes 2 units. Now the time learning rate is 90%. So 90% multiplied by 1000 will become 900 hours is required for making 2 units. So 900 hours, and per hour it is 15. So 13,500 is the average labor cost per unit for making 2 units. So for 2 units, what will be the cost? 2 into 13,500 will be the cost. Okay. Now again you are doubling. So 2 will become again double. So whenever you are doubling, only the time will reduce. So 2 is becoming the 4 units, and 90% of 900, it becomes 810. So for making 4 units, average time per unit will be 810 units. Of course, for 2 to 3 it will reduce, 3 to 4 it will reduce. For making 4, the average of 1, 2, 3, 4 will be 810 only, because it is falling. The learning curve is falling. Same way for 8 machines, you can apply 90% on 810. It becomes 729 is only the average time per unit for making 8 machines. Okay. Now we have calculated the labor cost per unit. Okay. These are all per unit. Okay. Per unit labor cost. It will fall down. If you are making 8 machines, one machine average cost will be only 10,935. If you are making only one machine, the cost is 15,000. So that's the beauty of the learning curve. So what is the average material cost? That is given 1,50,000 in the question. And what is the fixed cost for one machine? The fixed cost will be 60,000, because that is the fixed cost, and the one machine what you have made should absorb all this fixed cost. When you are making 2 units, so 2 units are there, so you can apportion the fixed cost between these 2 machines at 30,000, and you are making 4 machines, 60,000 divided by 4 is going to be 15,000 per unit. And when you are making 8 units, it is 7,500, which is 60,000 divided by 8 is 7,500. Now we can make the average cost of making. For making 1 unit, one machine, 15,000 is the labor cost. Okay, average material cost is 1,50,000, and 60,000 is the fixed cost, totaling to 2,25,000. For making 2 machines, the same way I am adding it. 4 machines I am adding it, 8 machines I am adding it. So the question is asked for 4 machines and 8 machines only. Just see the beauty of the learning curve here. For making only one order you have got, you are making only one machine, so which means your cost will be 2,25,000 rupees. And you have got an order of 8 machines, and your team is doing the 8 machines, and first machine, second machine, third machine, their learning keeps on increasing, which means their effect of the labor hours will reduce, the labor cost will reduce. And for making 8 machines, they are going to spend average per unit, it is only 1,68,435. Okay, per unit. These are all the values on per unit. So that is the beauty of the learning curve. So if you are going to make 8 machines, per unit is only 1,68,000 against the first unit which is made at 2,25,000. That is the beauty of learning curve. So meet you very soon with the last class on cost and management accounting, and then we will move to the financial management. All the very best, students. Thank you.